You can call me every name in the book. And Jack and Trevor and Livia can search for dirt on my father until their hands bleed. But nothing will ever convince me that my father is the monster that you say he is. Nothing ever.
I don't have any sympathy for you.
I don't need your sympathy, and I don't need you.
You really don't need anybody, do you? Only your father, the pedophile.
He's not.
The whole world knows he's a rapist. But you're still up to your eyeballs in denial.
Just leave me alone.
Richard Fields is the worst kind of criminal. The kind that preys on young, innocent children.
That's a lie.
Erica Kane wasn't the first, and she wasn't the last either. You heard what happened to that little girl. Didn't you listen?
I am not listening to you.
Or anyone else. What will it take to make you see, Kendall? Another victim?
You mustn't go yet. You only just arrived.
I want to go home. Now!
Nonsense. You'd rather stay here, wouldn't you, my lovely? You'd much rather stay here with me.
Miss Kane, Richard Fields testified before this court earlier today that you and he engaged in consensual sex. Now, are you saying that he was lying?
Yes, that is what I am saying.
But he swore before this court that it was you, a 14-year-old girl, who came on to him. Is that a lie?
Yes, that is a lie.
Is it also a lie when he denies that he used any force against you? I mean, is there any question in your mind that you were forced to engage in intercourse?
Richard Fields raped me.
I want to take you back to that night in Los Angeles, your 14th birthday, your father's house. You say you were home alone, and you admitted Mr. Fields into the house because he was your father's friend, and because he was your Saturday matinee idol. Is that correct?
Yes. I didn't realize that he was dangerous until it was too late.
And at what point did you stop feeling safe with your father's friend?
Just a few moments before he attacked me.
So until the very moment that Mr. Fields attacked you, he behaved like a perfect gentleman.
Yes, he made me feel very comfortable. And then he assaulted me. It was a trick. It was a horrible trick.
I told you, I was looking for Kendall. You tricked me.
There, it's all right, my love.
No, it's not. You locked the door.
He was so courtly. When he said that I was a pretty little girl, I thought that it was innocent. When he asked me to dance, I just thought he was being nice.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
She won.
What did Richard Fields do after he locked the door?
He changed completely.
How?
Well, everything. His face, his voice, the way he looked at me, the things he said to me. He was no longer complimenting a little girl. He wasn't fatherly, and he wasn't kind. He started to touch me, and he started pawing me.
And you asked him to stop?
Yes, I asked at first, and then I demanded.
And then you gave up?
No, I was kicking and pushing until he pinned both my arms back with his hands. And he did that so strongly that I could hardly breathe.
And that's the point when you stopped struggling?
No, I kept fighting.
And then what did he do?
Then he threw me on the floor. And he forced himself on top of me. And then I couldn't move. Then he was too strong.
So you finally submitted?
No, I never submitted.
How did you resist if you couldn't even move?
I cried and I begged.
And how did Richard Fields respond to your tears and your pleas?
Well, he called me a slut and a tease.
And what'd you do then?
Then I screamed for help.
Help! Somebody help!
It's just us two, all alone. You and me.
Somebody help me!
All My Children, brought to you by Original and Whitewater Fresh Zest.
It's very hard for you to talk about the rape, isn't it?
Well, I never ever talked about it at all until just a few months ago.
You never reported it to the police?
No,
You never confided in a friend?
no,
Never told a teacher or a minister or a family doctor?
no.
You never even went to see a rape counselor?
I didn't know that such a thing as a rape counselor existed.
Then I guess we can assume that you didn't join a rape crisis survivors group.
If something like that existed back then, I didn't know about it.
Well, what about your mother? Did you confide in her?
Well, when I finally told my mother suggested that I not talk about it. We both agreed that we would not discuss it.
Why?
Well, we wanted to be done with this whole ugly experience, and we just thought that if we didn't talk about it, we could make it go away.
And could you? Could you make it go away? Were you able to successfully block the entire recollection from your mind?
No, I remembered. But I pushed the memories down so far that they were not able ever to really surface into my thoughts. And that's what my mother and I wanted. I mean, we wanted to rise above what had happened. We thought that by not talking about it, we could make it not real.
But it's real to you now, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's like yesterday. It's like I'm still a little girl.
I know who you are.
Well, of course you do. You've seen me on the television. You said so.
You hurt my mother.
A gentleman would never hurt anyone, and I pride myself on being a gentleman.
You only act nice, but you're really bad.
But I can be very, very, very good, Bianca. And I'd love to show you how good I can be. Right now.
You said Richard Fields held on to you, threw you on the floor, and forced himself on top of you. Now, did you give him any reason to believe that you wanted that?
No, none whatsoever.
But he testified to this court that you gave him unmistakable signals that this is what you wanted. Now, is it possible that you sent some mixed signals?
No, absolutely not.
How can you be sure?
Because I told you that I not only said no, but I fought back.
You fought back, but you didn't fight hard enough to stop him.
I fought with every ounce of strength that I had in me. But I'm small, and Richard Fields, he overpowered me.
Let go!
It'll make you happy, Bianca. Happier than you've ever been in your life.
What did Richard Fields do when you screamed?
He put his hand very tightly over my mouth, making it impossible for me to cry out.
Don't fight it. Oh, please, don't fight it. It'll be so much more lovely if you leave it to me. I want to take care of you. Please, let me take care of you. I want to show you what happiness is.
Was it at this point that you realized that you were not going to be able to get away?
Yes.
And can you describe for us exactly how you felt in that moment?
Objection, Your Honor. The defendant's state of mind at the time of the alleged attack is irrelevant.
Your Honor, Erica Kane's state of mind is not only relevant, it is pivotal. The defense cannot argue post-traumatic stress syndrome without delineating every aspect of the trauma.
I'll allow the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. When you realized no matter how hard you fought, Richard Fields was going to have his way with you, what went through your mind?
Well, I felt utterly lost and deserted. I knew that no one could save me. No one who knew me knew or cared what was happening to me. I think that I felt like people must feel when they're going to die. I thought my life would never be all right again. I thought my life was completely over.
I'll get you.
No! Whoa, whoa! What happened? Tell me what happened.
Let me out! Let me go!
What have you done to her?
I haven't laid a hand on the child.
Are you hurt?
He wouldn't
Of course
stop.
she's not.
Look at me, Bianca.
Don't encourage her. She's delusional.
Tell me what happened.
I said stop, but he wouldn't.
I did nothing wrong.
Shut up! You wouldn't stop what, okay? Just tell me what happened. I just want to make sure everything's okay.
It was just an accident, a misunderstanding.
Tell me what happened.
He locked the door.
And then what?
I tried to get away, but I couldn't.
Come here. Oh, I promise nothing's gonna happen to you, okay? I'm gonna take care of you. You do not have to be afraid anymore. Nothing bad is going to happen to you.
Mommy said never to believe a thing you say. Ever, ever.
I just want to help you.
No, you don't. You only pretend that you're nice, but you're not. You're just like him.
Take your hands off that child!
Grandma!
Oh, why is she here? What's going on?
Get out of here.
What's been happening here? Bianca, why is your skirt torn?
Get her out of here.
Come on, baby. Come with Grandma.
Oh, dear Puppet, look at that face. Buck up. Have faith in your old man. First impressions can be very difficult, you know. I can erase any problems that there are. There's an explanation. A simple explanation. Just have to think where to start.
What did you do after Richard Fields raped you and abandoned you in your father's house?
I cried. I curled up in a ball on the floor and I cried my heart out for hours.
Why didn't you consider calling someone to help you?
I didn't consider anything. I didn't think anything. I guess I was just in too much pain.
Emotional pain.
Yes, and physical.
Well, can you tell us about some of the physical injuries?
Well, I had big red welts over most of my body, and they turned into large purple bruises.
Do you remember exactly where these bruises were?
Yes, they were mostly on my wrists and on my neck and shoulders and arms and my thighs.
Now, can you tell us how exactly you sustained all these bruises?
Well, from when Richard Fields held me down, when he pinned me down.
So you're saying he held you and gripped you so tightly that he left bruises here and here and here and here?
Yes.
I know this is very difficult for you, Miss Kane, but I would like for you to describe for us how you sustained the bruises on your thighs.
Well, in order to keep me from squirming away, he dug his knees into my thighs and pressed down with his entire weight.
This was a 90-pound little girl. Miss Kane, can you please tell us if there were any other injuries?
There were teeth marks on my neck and shoulders.
Where he bitten you?
Yes.
Could you please describe for us how hard it was, or give us an idea how hard he bitten you?
Well, some of them were bleeding.
Some of the bites were bleeding? Miss Kane, other than the physical pain, what was your emotional state?
Well, I felt abandoned and filthy and sick.
When you say sick, do you mean nauseated?
Yes. Yes. But more than that, I felt sick down to the bottom of my being.
Poor little puppet. How do you feel? I hope you're not coming down with a bug. It's just the beastly weather for it, isn't it? You don't look after yourself, that's the problem. We'll have to bundle you up in bed, but leave it to Papa. I'll go out and forage for some soup and tea. I wonder if they have any bottle in this outpost. My dear, you do look so feverish. Let me feel.
If you ever touch me again, I swear I will kill you.
You don't mean that. You couldn't mean that. I'm your father.
Thy father. Kendall's father. What a joke. My father is a pig.
Kendall.
I hate you. You are filthy and disgusting. And I wish you were dead.
Miss Kane, when did your parents learn of the rape?
Well, I told my father early the next morning.
Why did you wait till the next morning?
I had waited up for him all night, but he didn't come in until just before sunup.
How did Eric Kane respond to learning that his daughter had been brutally violated?
He didn't believe me.
He thought you were lying?
Lying, exaggerating. He didn't accept what I was saying.
Well, didn't he see the bruises?
No.
Why is that?
Well, it was dark, I remember, and I was sitting in his den in his brown leather chair. I had taken a shower. I had scrubbed, and I put on this big terry cloth robe, and I had the collar up.
Why didn't you just turn down the collar and let him see the bruises?
Because they were hideous. I didn't want anyone to see them, especially not my father.
Why especially not your father?
I idolized my father, and he didn't believe what I was telling him. He wouldn't believe that his friend had done something wrong.
And what about your mother? How did she react when she learned what Richard Fields had done to you?
I didn't tell my mother.
Well, how did she find out?
One morning, about 5 months after the rape, I stepped out of the shower one morning, and my mother happened to be standing there in the bathroom, and she took one look at my body and let out a little cry. And so naturally, I burst into tears, and then I fell into her arms.
And then you finally told her what Richard Fields had done to you?
No, actually, I asked her what was wrong with me, because I still didn't know. And, well, she sat me down and she started asking me a lot of questions, the right questions. And so Pretty soon the whole story tumbled out. When my mother told me that I was pregnant, I was shocked.
Shocked?
Yes, completely shocked.
You were a 14-year-old girl. You'd been raped. You'd been impregnated. How could you be shocked to learn that you were carrying a child?
Because at that time, my knowledge of such things was very sketchy.
You're telling us that at age 14, you still didn't know where babies came from?
No, I knew where babies came from, but technically, but I had never put it together for myself, for me.
And so what happened after your mother explained to you that you were pregnant?
My mother arranged for us to go to Arizona and give the baby up for adoption. She told me that it was very important that no one ever find out. And my mother warned me that we were in for a bad time, but that after that, we would never look back. We would never think about it, and we would never talk about it. And that's exactly what we did.
But didn't you ever miss your little girl?
No, not until after the birth of my daughter, Bianca. And then I did think about my firstborn daughter.
Did you have regrets about giving her up?
I wouldn't use the word regret, but I was very sad. I loved my baby, Bianca, so much. I couldn't help it more in the loss of my first baby.
So is that when you started to think that perhaps you'd made a mistake?
No, quite the opposite. The demands of motherhood really proved to me that I had made the right choice. I was a grown-up when I gave birth to my daughter, Bianca, and being her mother taps every resource I have. When I was 14, I didn't have any resources to tap. I would have been useless to Kendall.
So you and your mother flew to Arizona, where you gave birth to your daughter, and then you left her in the care of a reputable adoption agency. You then went back to Pine Valley to renew your young life. On that plane ride back, what was on your mind?
I remember I thought, oh, please, God, don't let my little girl suffer the same kind of pain that I have.
Why on earth are you so angry with me? What have I done wrong?
You say that like you really mean it. Are you crazy or are you just the world's best liar?
I don't like your tone.
You ripped Bianca's skirt!
You make it sound like I stalked her. She came to me.
She came to you? What is that supposed to mean? She is a child!
Yes, well, it's quite obvious that she wanted some love and affection. And she could see some warmth in me, and that's what she craves.
Does she crave having her clothing torn? Does she crave being terrified?
Listen, Kendall. You're going to have to take my word on this. In the dance of love, I am so much more experienced than you.
And just how many love dances have you done with elementary school girls?
Oh, my dear puppet, you are so naive. She came to me, don't you see? That little tease was being coy.
Coy? She was hysterical.
Oh, you have to believe me. She wanted it. They all do.
Oh, my God. It's true. It's all true. Don't you come near me.
Calm down. You're beside yourself.
You are a monster.
Oh, this is preposterous.
The horrible things that they said about you. Every single one of them is true.
Take a hold of yourself.
You are a rapist. You rape little girls.
Just about had enough of
No,
this.
no. That's the sickest part, though. You haven't. If I hadn't come in, where would you have stopped?
I have done nothing wrong.
Would you have stopped her ripping off her clothing? Fondling her?
I have told you I have done nothing wrong.
You're whole life is wrong. It's no accident that you are the way you are, a broken-down has-been with no money, no friends, and no family.
You will address me with a modicum of respect.
You are a sick and evil fiend.
I am your father.
Everybody tried to tell me. I defended you like an idiot. You were my last chance for a real family. I was going to take care of you in your declining years. I prayed that you would live long enough to see my children, But you are a sick, and you are a twisted man. When I think about that poor little girl who killed herself. Oh, my God. Erica, she did. You raped my mother. She didn't seduce you. It was rape.
Honey, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to never forget what I'm going to tell you. Ever. Bianca, you did nothing wrong. He did. You did not.
But why?
Because Richard Fields is a very sick man who likes to hurt little children. But he will never hurt anyone else again. Not you, not anyone.
It's a good idea. Let her get some sleep.
I was so scared.
Richard Fields has no reason to scare you ever again. I'm going to see to that.
So after months of pretending to be just another admiring fan, Kendall abruptly revealed her true identity.
Yes.
And how did it feel to find out that your personal assistant was really your firstborn child?
It was very hard. But I invited her to move in with me. I provided a very responsible training position in my company. I bought her things, clothes, jewelry. And I invited her to be part of my wedding party, to be a bridesmaid. And in the wedding announcement in the newspapers, I listed her as my daughter.
Sounds like you went out of your way and worked very hard to make her feel welcome under less than ideal circumstances.
I tried. I wanted to be close to her. I knew that would take time, and I was willing to invest the time. At least, I was at first.
You were at first. Did something happen to change that?
Whenever I would look at Kendall, I would see the face of Richard Fields, Kendall's father, the man who raped me. At first, I thought that I would get over that that was just a phase. But it didn't pass. It just got worse. Especially when Kendall refused to do the one thing that I asked of her.
Which was?
I never wanted Kendall to know that she was the daughter of a rape. But very early on, Kendall really demanded to know the whole story. Later, when she expressed an interest in finding her father, I told her that that would be the one thing that I just could not accept. Now, she promised me that she would not pursue him, and I believed her. But, of course, she broke her promise.
What did she do?
Well, the first thing she did was collect all of Richard Fields' old films. And she made a Richard Fields scrapbook, complete with newspaper articles and photographs and playbills, anything, I guess, that she could get her hands on. I happened on all of this one night, and well, I was so angry. No, it was more than that. I was distraught, and I burned her collection. And I warned her to please stop. And once again, she promised me that she would. And I believed her. But once again, she broke her promise. She hired a private investigator to find Richard Fields.
And what did Kendall do when she finally found her father?
Well, she invited him into her life, here in Pine Valley. She embraced the man who raped me, and she called him Daddy.
So did knowing the root of your phobia make it go away?
No. If anything, it got worse. I started having flashbacks.
Flashbacks?
Yes, little flickers of the rape in my mind's eye. As if I had a little film reel going on in my mind. And this never lasted very long, but it was really quite horrifying. And, of course, I had these during thunderstorms.
But you said Dmitri Merrick held you through every one of these things?
Oh, yes, he did. He would just drop whatever it was he was doing, and he would hold me.
So could you understand why this man who so tenderly held you through thunderstorms would hire a private investigator to find your attacker?
I did not understand at the time, but I do now. Dmitri felt that Kendall was determined to find her father, and Dmitri felt that Kendall would find her father one way or another. Dmitri felt that if he could control the search, he could control Kendall, that once she did find her father, that Dmitri could make her give him up.
And was he able to do that?
No.
So how did you feel when you found out that your daughter and your husband had located your rapist?
I felt betrayed. I felt devastated. I left Wildwind immediately.
Did the nightmares and the flashbacks stop?
No. In fact, they got worse.
Was there one in particular that jolted you more than others?
Yes, there was. I had fallen asleep on my couch at Linden, and I awoke and I was terrified. And I felt that I needed to be comforted, and of course Dmitri was the only one who could comfort me. And so I went to look for him.
You needed Dmitri, and so you sought him out, and did you find him?
Yes, I did. I went to Wildwind, and they told me that he was at the hunting lodge, and so I went there.
And what did you see when you got to the hunting lodge?
Richard Fields.
Could you please explain to the court what you mean by that?
It's very difficult to explain.
Please try.
Well, as I was walking into the hunting lodge, I looked through the window, and I saw Dmitri there with Kendall. They were fighting. They were arguing about something. Dmitri was shouting at her. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he took her by the shoulders, and he shook her.
Dmitri took her by the shoulders like this?
Yes.
And he shook her like this?
Yes.
And then what happened?
They changed.
What do you mean? They stopped fighting?
No, they continued fighting. But suddenly, I saw myself in the place of Kendall, and I saw Dmitri change places and become Richard Fields. Literally.
Did you realize then that you were having a hallucination?
Yes.
So what did you do?
Well, I panicked, and I raced home from there, and I tried to erase the whole thing from my mind.
And could you? Could you wipe out the flashback?
No.
Did you sleep?
I tried, but no, I couldn't.
So you lay at home, you couldn't sleep, and you couldn't wipe out this memory of your own rape. Then what happened?
Well, then
The next morning. Tell us what happened the next morning.
Well, Kendall appeared at my front door, hysterical.
She was hysterical. Did she explain to you why she was hysterical?
Yes, she did. She said that the night before, that Dmitri had raped her.
raped my mother. You tried to rape Bianca. I can't take the sight of you another minute.
Where do you think you're going, you brainless cretin?
Talk to me like that after all that I have done for you.
Don't be such an idiot. Your mother was a love-starved nymphette, desperate for what I had to give her.
Like Bianca.
And now Erica is a lying hellion with an axe to grind, and you want to believe her? Well, I don't care if she's got written affidavits from half the ranting and odd people in the Feminist League. I don't care if she's backed by the Law Society. I am your father, and you must believe me. If you walk out of that door, you have nothing. You better stay with me, Kendall. I'm all you have left.
Did not believe Kendall's charges at first. I mean, it was inconceivable, Dimitri, a rapist. But Kendall kept persisting, and she was really ranting and raving about the possibility of her being pregnant. And I knew she was a virgin. She didn't even date, so, I mean, it just did not make sense. So I had to get to the bottom of it. When I took her to the hospital, I really will tell you that I was half hoping that they would prove that she was lying. But after the doctor examined her, he said that she had had intercourse in the past 12 hours. And that's what did it for me. The past 12 hours. I had seen Dimitri manhandling her at the lodge.
And that's when you decided that Kendall was telling the truth?
Well, I never could imagine that she would lie about something like that.
But she had lied to you before.
Yes, constantly. But about rape? Of course, then I remembered that my own father had not believed me when I told him that I had been raped, and I just could not do that to any daughter of mine.
So what did you do?
I went to Wildwind to confront Dimitri, and he categorically denied all of Kendall's charges. I then told him what I had seen the night before, and it was only then that Dimitri explained that Kendall had thrown herself at him.
What happened next?
Well, Dimitri was really raging about Kendall being so malicious and so destructive, and then he did say something that made my blood run cold.
Please tell us what he said.
Well, he said that whatever happened to Kendall, she asked for it.
And those were words you'd heard before, hadn't you?
Yes, I had. After Richard Fields had finished raping me, he looked down at me, sobbing on the floor, and he said, "You asked for it."
And who else had said that to you? Who else said, "Erica, you asked for it"?
My father. When I tried to explain to my father that I had been raped, my father looked at me and said, "You asked for it."
So what happened when you heard those words from your husband, Dimitri Merrick?
I was suddenly 14 years old again. And I was in my father's house. And I didn't see Dimitri. I didn't see my husband. I saw Richard Fields, and he was coming at me, and he was going to rape me again. And I couldn't let that happen again. I had to stop him.
You had to stop him? Who did you have to stop?
Richard Fields.
So you're saying that you looked at Dimitri and you saw Richard Fields? You took your husband, Dimitri Merrick, and in his place you saw your rapist.
I never meant to hurt Dimitri. Never.
If you are all that I've got, then I have nothing. Because I would rather be alone than with a slime like you.
You can't leave me. Who will take care of me?
Who will take care of me? You have cost me all that I had and all that I ever could have had. And do you know what the worst part is? I have nobody to blame but myself.
Please don't go. Please don't leave me.
I hope you burn in hell.
It's really important what I put in my body. And so Equal was a very important choice and a very important discovery when I found it. Once I broke the sugar habit, I couldn't go back on. And, I mean, I won't even put that pink stuff on anything. I have to have the Equal. If you put your finger in it, you know, and it tastes good. I mean, that's an important decision. It kind of adds up. It's a little thing, but it adds up.
Equal has the great taste of NutraSweet and no saccharin.
My little friend in the blue package. I choose Equal.
Did you ever wish you could take your Dirt Devil hand vac along for the ride? Well, now you can. With this, the new Dirt Devil car vac. Just plug it into your lighter. It performs just like the original with a powerful motor, revolving brush, and handy attachments to get you through all those tight corners. The Dirt Devil car vac. Lots of power, great handling, and it even comes with an airbag. Get a Dirt Devil car vac.
Dig the shape of new Frito scoops. The scoops up dips. And holes down drips. You'll dig the taste.
I know what I like Fritos.
New Scoops corn chips.
Let her go!
Cascade powder gets dishes virtually spotless.
So does new Palmolive Ultra. But it has powerful enzymes. Cascade doesn't. Enzymes mean Palmolive Ultra gets off the dried-on oatmeal. Cascade didn't.
Oatmeal, yes, but virtually no spots.
And Palmolive Ultra is concentrated. Cascade isn't.
But it gets off spots. Any kind of spots.
Any kind? Hey, new Palmolive Ultra. You can see the difference.
Late night tonight, One Life to Live stars James DePaiva and Susan Batten host K.D. Lang, Bill Medley, Darlene Love, and more. It's the music of One Life to Live on ABC In Concert.